The camera pans across a towering, sleek glass building, reflecting the soft glow of a setting sun. Inside, the CEO of a tech empire, Elias Carter, stares out of the windows, his eyes fixed on the city below. His office is stark, minimalistic, but the weight of his achievements hangs heavily in the air. The hum of his phone screen illuminates his face in the dim light. The message reads, "Your daughter's in critical condition. You need to come now." He clenches his jaw and looks away from the phone, as if he's faced with an impossible choice. On the other side of the glass, the world keeps moving, cars bustling, people rushing to their destinations, while Elias stands frozen in time. The empire he's built, the wealth he's amassed, all feel distant in this moment. The reflection of his face on the glass mirrors the void inside him. He built an empire, a voiceover whispers softly, but he couldn't save her. The door to the office opens with a soft creak. Elias steps out, his face tight with an unresolved decision. His footsteps are slow, deliberate, as if each one weighs him down more than the last. The elevator ride down is silent, his reflection in the mirrored walls offering no comfort. The city continues to buzz below, unaware of the storm within the man who built it all. As the doors open to the lobby, Elias's assistant stands waiting, her face pale. "Mr. Carter, your flight is ready. The jet's fueled and waiting." Her voice cracks, and Elias, momentarily pausing, realizes that she too feels the heaviness of the moment. Without a word, he nods, stepping past her and walking toward the entrance. The world outside feels like a blur, the sounds muffled as though he's underwater. The city moves around him, yet he remains still, burdened by the knowledge that everything he has worked for, everything he has built, means nothing compared to what's at stake now. The private jet hums with a low, steady noise as it soars above the clouds. Elias gazes out of the window, his eyes distant, the reflection of his face distorted in the glass. His mind is consumed by the thought of his daughter, Lily. Her sudden illness, the severity of it, haunts him. He hasn't spoken to her in months, too absorbed in meetings, deals, and late nights at the office. She had been his world when she was little, but somewhere along the way, he lost her to the chaos of his career. A deep ache fills his chest. He promised her he would never be like his father, who left him to chase his own empire. But here he is, a man consumed by the very empire he vowed to avoid. The jet's smooth flight seems almost cruel in its serenity, a stark contrast to the storm raging inside him. He should be there for her, but his mind is a battlefield between duty and love. The jet lands smoothly at the airport, and Elias's heart races. His mind is racing faster than the plane's descent, as though he could somehow outrun the inevitable. The airport is quieter than usual, the hum of the engine still fresh in his ears. As he exits the jet, his assistant meets him with a briefcase, but he barely acknowledges it. His eyes scan the surroundings, trying to focus, but everything feels out of place. This isn't a business trip. It isn't about power, success, or wealth. It's about something far more fragile, something that can't be measured or controlled. Elias walks briskly toward the awaiting car, his suit jacket pressed neatly against his back, his movements sharp but somehow lacking purpose. "Mr. Carter, do you need anything?" his assistant asks quietly. Elias doesn't respond, his mind already elsewhere. His daughter's hospital room, her pale face, her trembling hands, everything else fades into the background as he enters the car and the doors close behind him. This is the moment he can no longer outrun. The car drives through the quiet streets, the dimming light casting long shadows across the pavement. Elias doesn't speak. There are no words left. His mind is flooded with guilt, with the images of his daughter lying unconscious in a hospital bed, her once bright eyes now dull. He had been too busy, too absorbed in the pursuit of success, of power. And now, it might be too late. His heart pounds in his chest as the car pulls up to the hospital entrance, and for the first time in years, he feels vulnerable. He steps out of the car, the world around him fading into a blur of motion. His suit feels too tight, the weight of his decisions far heavier than any fabric. As he walks toward the hospital doors, he catches a glimpse of his reflection in the glass. His face is cold, drawn, far from the confident, poised CEO he once was. It hits him with brutal clarity. He might have everything in the world, but this could cost him everything that truly matters. Elias stands outside the ICU, staring at the closed doors as if the world beyond them might hold the answers he's spent years searching for. His heart races, his palms damp with sweat. He's been here for hours, waiting for someone to come out, to tell him that everything will be okay. But that hasn't happened. Instead, the silence has grown louder, the ticking of the clock on the wall far too clear in his ears. A nurse walks by, her eyes flicking to him briefly before she quickly turns away. Elias swallows, his throat tight. Lily, his little girl, the only person who ever truly mattered to him, is lying inside that room, fighting for her life. He's never been good at being there for her. He hasn't been a father in the way she needed, and he knows it now. All the time he spent building his empire, every deal, every contract, none of it can change the fact that he wasn't there when she needed him most. And now, it's too late to fix that. The door to the ICU finally opens, and a doctor steps out. His face is impassive, offering no sign of relief or reassurance. "Mr. Carter?" the doctor asks, his voice low, almost too soft. Elias's stomach drops. He stands straighter, trying to mask the fear bubbling up inside him. "How is she?" Elias's voice sounds foreign to his own ears, strained, tight with anxiety. The doctor hesitates for a moment before speaking. "Your daughter is stable, but her condition is critical. We're doing everything we can, but it's going to be touch and go for a while." Elias feels a wave of relief wash over him, but it's tempered by the cold truth that there's no certainty, no guarantee. "I wasn't there for her," he murmurs, the guilt beginning to claw at him again. The doctor gives him a brief sympathetic look before nodding and walking away, leaving Elias alone in the corridor, with nothing but his thoughts and the heavy burden of his mistakes. Elias walks slowly through the hospital, the quiet murmur of voices and the distant beeping of machines filling the air. He passes other families sitting in the waiting area, their eyes tired, filled with quiet desperation. He's not sure why he's still here. The doctor has given him no promises, only more questions. The guilt continues to gnaw at him, louder now than ever. He never thought it would come to this. He never imagined that he would be in a place where his daughter's life was hanging by a thread. His thoughts flash back to the years he spent away from her, justifying his absence with the notion of providing a better life for her. But none of it matters now. He wanted to be a good father, but he failed her in the most important way. And the worst part, he didn't realize it until it was too late. As Elias sits down in the empty waiting room, his phone buzzes again. Another notification. Another deal. Another achievement. He doesn't even look at it. None of it matters. Hours pass, and Elias hasn't moved. He's lost track of time. He hasn't spoken to anyone, hasn't checked his phone, hasn't even noticed the soft ticking of the clock on the wall. The silence in the waiting room has become suffocating, a reflection of the silence in his own mind. His thoughts are consumed by his past, the choices he made that led him here, to this moment. He sees Lily's face, the way she used to look at him with those big, hopeful eyes, the eyes that now seem like a distant memory. The guilt is overwhelming, suffocating. He's been a stranger in her life for too long, and now he might never have the chance to make it right. As the door to the ICU opens again, Elias stands up, his legs stiff from sitting too long. A nurse emerges, but it's not the doctor. Elias's heart skips a beat, and he moves toward her, the hope rising in his chest, only to have it dashed as she delivers the next round of ambiguous news. It's never enough, never clear. All he wants is something definitive, something to hold on to, but he knows deep down, he is not in control of this. The night stretches on. Elias stands outside the ICU again, staring at the same set of doors. He's been here before, but now it feels different. The weight of his choices hangs heavier than ever. He's watched the world pass him by, too absorbed in his work to notice the cracks forming in his personal life. It was always about the next deal, the next win, the next goal. But those things feel hollow now. His hands shake as he reaches for his phone, the screen lighting up with yet another notification. He swipes it away, his thoughts consumed by the child he might lose if he doesn't change, if he doesn't stop. The doors to the ICU open once more. And this time, it's the doctor. The news is better, but it's still guarded. Elias exhales a small breath of relief, but it doesn't change what he's learned tonight. No success, no empire, can replace the things that truly matter. His eyes meet the doctor's, and for the first time in a long while, he's ready to change, ready to give up everything that isn't worth losing. Elias stands at the front of a conference room, the board members staring at him in silence. His pitch is more than just another business proposal. It's a reflection of everything he's been through, everything he's learned in the past few days. As he speaks, his voice cracks just a little, betraying the vulnerability he's trying to hide. His mind is still on his daughter, still haunted by the moments he has missed, yet here he is, trying to secure another win. His empire has been built on ambition, on deals that have shaped his legacy. But something inside him has shifted. The old Elias, the one who would sacrifice everything for success, is no longer here. "This is our future," he says with conviction, though his words feel hollow in his own ears. But it's not just about the money, it's about what we can give back. To the people, to the world. The silence in the room is deafening, and Elias feels the weight of the room's expectations pressing down on him. He waits for their response, but even as they nod and smile, a part of him knows that no deal, no achievement, will ever fill the void inside him. The meeting concludes with polite nods and murmurs of approval. The deal is nearly finalized, but Elias feels no satisfaction. As the board members file out, he's left standing alone in the center of the room, the sound of their footsteps fading into silence. He's won again, but at what cost? His mind drifts back to the hospital, to his daughter, to the moments he can never get back. The guilt is suffocating. He has everything, wealth, power, success, but he's still empty inside. He's tried to fill that emptiness with business, with more acquisitions, more deals, but it's never enough. "What am I even doing?" he mutters to himself. His reflection in the glass wall catches his eye. The man he sees is familiar, but he feels like a stranger to himself. He's lost, unsure of what comes next. The room is empty, save for the reflection of the city outside, continuing to move forward while he remains stuck in place. Elias returns home late that night, the house dark and quiet. His wife, Clara, is already asleep, her side of the bed empty and untouched. The silence between them has grown in the last few years. Too many late nights, too many missed anniversaries, too many empty promises. He stands at the foot of their bed, staring at the empty space beside her. The weight of the last few days, the guilt of not being there for his daughter, for Clara, hits him all at once. He's built this empire, but at what cost? He's lost the people who matter most to him, and he doesn't know how to get them back. As he sits down at the edge of the bed, Clara stirs, her eyes barely open. "Elias?" she whispers, her voice thick with sleep. He doesn't know how to respond. "I'm sorry," he says, his voice barely a whisper. Clara's hand reaches out to him, a silent gesture of forgiveness. The moment is fleeting, but it's enough. He's not sure what comes next, but for the first time in years, he feels like he's not alone. The following day, Elias walks into the office with a renewed sense of purpose. The weight of his personal life still hangs over him, but he's determined to make things right. The deal he's been working on for months is finally coming to fruition, and the pressure is immense. He meets with his team, his mind focused, but a part of him is still somewhere else. Thinking of Clara, thinking of Lily, thinking of what he's lost. The meeting is tense, the stakes high. Every word spoken is critical. Every decision will impact the future of the company. Elias feels the familiar rush of adrenaline as he navigates the discussions, but beneath the surface, something has changed. He's no longer motivated solely by the desire for more success. For the first time, he's driven by a need to reclaim what's truly important. As the meeting ends, he looks around the room at his team, their faces filled with expectation. He nods to them, but his mind is already elsewhere, focused on the life he wants to rebuild, the relationships he wants to restore. The day ends, and Elias finds himself back in the hospital, standing outside Lily's room once more. He's made the deal. He's secured the future of the company. But none of it matters right now. His hands shake as he reaches for the door handle. This time, he's not just a CEO walking through these halls. He's a father. His heart pounds as he steps into the room, the soft beeping of the machines, the only sound in the sterile space. Lily lies in the bed, her face pale, her breathing steady but shallow. He pulls up a chair and sits beside her, his hand gently resting on hers. "I'm sorry, Lily," he whispers, his voice breaking. "I should have been here. I should have been a better father." He sits in silence, the weight of his words sinking in. His empire can wait. Right now all that matters is the daughter he has neglected, the bond he's tried to rebuild. For the first time, Elias feels like he's exactly where he needs to be. Elias stands in front of his office's massive glass window, overlooking the city that he built, the empire he forged with his own hands. The weight of the world is on his shoulders, but it's not just the company that's been dragging him down. The truth is, Elias never built it alone. Behind the glossy boardroom deals, behind the glitzy numbers on paper, there's something he's kept hidden. His mind flashes back to the early days, when he and his brother Nathan started the business together. Nathan had been the visionary, the one who understood the bigger picture. Elias had been the executor, the one who could turn dreams into reality. But Nathan's brilliance had come with a price, one Elias didn't see until it was too late. The moment Nathan had disappeared from the company was the moment Elias had unknowingly sealed his fate. Now, the truth is coming to light. His brother was the true co-founder, the one who had been quietly pulling strings behind the scenes. Elias never knew that Nathan had been orchestrating his absence, manipulating the company from the shadows. It was Nathan who had always been the true architect, and Elias had been nothing more than a figurehead. Elias's phone buzzes. A message from the board: "We need to talk. Urgent." His stomach twists, a sinking feeling growing in his chest. The weight of the news he's just learned about Nathan, his brother, the co-founder, the true mastermind of their success, has unsettled him. He thought he knew the business inside and out, but the secrets Nathan had buried, the lies Elias had lived with, are finally rising to the surface. The truth about the company's origins hits him like a physical blow. His brother had been the one who owned the majority shares all along. Nathan had been orchestrating the deals, guiding the company in a direction Elias never fully understood. But Elias had been too blinded by ambition to question anything. The realization that everything he thought he controlled was a lie makes him feel small, vulnerable. He's not the self-made man he thought he was. He's a pawn in a game he never knew existed. "How could I have been so blind?" Elias mutters under his breath, pacing the floor. The empire he built is built on deceit, and now it's crumbling around him. The boardroom is cold, the air tense. Elias walks in, his mind racing, trying to prepare himself for the confrontation he knows is coming. The board members sit around the large table, their faces unreadable. As Elias takes his seat, he feels the weight of their gazes, the quiet judgment in their eyes. "Mr. Carter," the lead director begins, "we need to address the ownership structure of this company. It's been brought to our attention that there are irregularities in the founding documents." Elias's pulse quickens. He knows what's coming, but hearing it out loud makes it all the more real. It's come to light that Nathan Carter, your brother, was the true majority shareholder, not you. You were always listed as the face of the company, but it was Nathan who held the true power behind the scenes. The words hang in the air, heavy and suffocating. Elias looks around the table, the faces of the board members blur in his mind. His world is shattering, piece by piece. "You've lied to us," the director continues. Elias tries to speak, but the words die in his throat. He has nothing to say. His empire was never his, he was always just the figurehead. The meeting ends with Elias being escorted out of the boardroom. The air feels thin, his breath shallow. His mind is a whirlwind of thoughts, none of them clear. He's no longer the CEO. His role, his identity, the legacy he thought he had built, it's all slipping through his fingers. As he walks down the hallway, the voices of the board members echo in his ears, their words looping in his mind like a broken record. "You're not the man you thought you were," one had said. "Everything you've done has been based on lies," another had added. Elias's legs feel weak, and for the first time in years he doesn't know where he's going. The weight of the collapse is suffocating. He thought he had everything under control. He thought he was the one who made the decisions. But now, all he can do is watch as the empire he built starts to crumble, piece by piece. What now? Elias whispers to himself. The world he's known is no longer his, and he's left standing in the ruins, unsure of what to do next. Elias stands in front of the building's glass doors, staring out at the world that feels more distant than ever. The city, once a symbol of his success, now feels like an alien landscape. His phone buzzes again. Another message from his team. He doesn't read it. He doesn't care anymore. The truth about his brother, the revelation that he was never truly in control, has stripped away everything Elias thought he knew about himself. He thought the empire was his creation, that his decisions shaped its success. But now, he realizes it was always someone else's hand on the wheel. The weight of his brother's betrayal, the lies that have defined his life, have left him hollow. As Elias steps outside, the world continues on, indifferent to the collapse of his empire. He's no longer the man he once was. He's lost everything: his company, his legacy, and his sense of self. For the first time in years he's free. But that freedom feels more like emptiness than liberation. The boardroom is silent, the tension palpable. Elias stands at the head of the table, his hands gripping the sides of the chair, his eyes scanning the faces of the board members. This is the moment, the one that will define everything. The decision to vote on the future of the company has come down to this. His empire, once a shining example of his success, is now teetering on the edge of destruction. The vote will either preserve his legacy or wipe it out. His brother's betrayal still stings, but Elias knows he has to make a choice. "I've spent years building this company," he says, his voice steady but filled with a quiet desperation. "I've sacrificed everything for it, but I've come to realize it's not just about the business, it's about what we've lost in the process." He takes a deep breath. "I won't let this company destroy what's left of my life. Not anymore." The words hang in the air, heavy with the weight of his decision. The board members exchange glances, unsure of what Elias is about to do. The vote is cast, and the silence that follows is deafening. Elias's heart pounds in his chest as he waits for the results. His thoughts race. What if this is the end of everything? What if all of his sacrifices have been in vain? His mind flashes back to the moments he's missed with his daughter, the years he's spent consumed by the drive for success, only to realize it's cost him more than he can ever get back. The results are in. The lead director stands and reads them aloud. The vote has passed in favor of the new direction. A wave of relief washes over Elias, but it's quickly followed by a deep sense of emptiness. The decision has been made, but it doesn't feel like a victory. It feels like a turning point, a moment of irreversible change. As the board members begin to leave, Elias sits back in his chair, staring at the table. He's won, but at what cost? He's not sure if the victory was worth it. The legacy he's fought for has been preserved, but the personal price is steep. The next few days pass in a blur. Elias spends his time in the office, but it feels different now. The weight of his choices has sunk in, and he knows nothing will ever be the same again. His daughter is recovering, but he still hasn't been able to bridge the gap between them. Clara has been patient, but there's a coldness in their interactions now. The distance between them is palpable. Elias's thoughts are scattered, his mind constantly returning to the decision he made in the boardroom. He wonders if it was the right choice. He wonders if it even matters. As he sits in his office, his eyes move to the photograph on his desk. His daughter, smiling, carefree. He takes a deep breath, his hand hovering over the phone. The world he's built feels distant now, and yet he knows he can't walk away from it completely. There's a part of him that still needs the validation, the success. But another part of him knows that if he doesn't make amends now, if he doesn't fix the relationships that matter most, none of the success will mean anything. Elias makes the decision to leave the office early. He hasn't been home in days, and he knows it's time to face the people who matter most. The walk to the car feels longer than usual, the weight of his decision bearing down on him. He's done everything he can to preserve the company, but now he needs to rebuild what's been lost. When he walks through the door at home, Clara is sitting in the living room, the TV on but muted. She looks up at him, and for a moment, neither of them speaks. The silence between them is heavy, filled with all the words left unspoken. Elias walks over to her, his hands trembling slightly. "Clara," he begins, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "I've made mistakes, and I know I can't undo the past, but I'm here now. I want to be here, for you, and for Lily. I want to rebuild what we've lost." Clara doesn't answer right away, but her eyes soften. It's not forgiveness yet, but it's a step forward. And that, for Elias, is enough for now. The days following Elias's decision to step back from the business are strange, a mix of relief and uncertainty. His phone no longer buzzes with endless notifications, and the constant pressure of meetings and deals has been replaced by something quieter. Elias spends more time with Lily, taking her to the park, listening to her talk about her day. It's not perfect, and they both know there's still work to be done, but it's progress. Clara, too, has begun to open up again, their conversations more meaningful now, though still fragile. Elias has started to let go of the need for validation, the constant drive to prove himself. He's come to understand that the real work, the most important work, lies not in business, but in the relationships he's neglected. As he sits on the porch with Clara, watching the sunset, Elias feels a sense of peace that he hasn't felt in years. There's still uncertainty in the future, but for the first time he feels like he's heading in the right direction. Elias sits on the balcony of his home, the city sprawled beneath him, a distant hum filling the air. The skyline that once symbolized his triumph now feels like a quiet reminder of what he's left behind. His life is quieter now, slower. The deals, the boardrooms, the endless meetings, they're no longer a part of his world. Instead, he finds himself at peace in the moments he used to overlook. He watches Lily play in the garden below, her laughter ringing out like a song he hasn't heard in years. Clara is nearby, reading a book, her presence a comforting silence. It's not perfect, and it's not easy, but it's real. The pain of the past still lingers in the quiet moments, the missed opportunities, the guilt, but Elias has begun to understand that it's not about erasing those feelings. It's about learning to live with them, finding peace in the knowledge that he's doing the best he can now. His life has shifted, but the true legacy he wants to leave isn't in the empire he built, but in the relationships he's slowly mending. Days pass, and Elias begins to immerse himself in the community around him. No longer driven by the need to conquer, he finds solace in simple interactions. He volunteers at a local shelter, helping those in need, doing something tangible, something real. The work is hard, the hours long, but for the first time, it feels meaningful. The people he meets are different from the executives he once knew. They don't care about his wealth, his status, his legacy. They only care about what he's willing to give. And in this new world, Elias finds the redemption he never thought possible. It's not glamorous, but it's fulfilling in ways he hadn't imagined. Each day brings a small, quiet victory, the smile of someone he's helped, the gratitude in their eyes. In these moments, Elias starts to understand the true cost of his previous life, the cost of ignoring the world beyond his own ambition. But he also starts to realize that it's never too late to make things right. One evening, Elias and Clara sit on their porch again, the same quiet calm between them. The tension that had once been so present in their relationship has softened, replaced by a quiet understanding. They don't need to speak to know that things are better now. They're both in this together, facing whatever comes next as a family. Clara's hand finds his, a simple gesture that speaks volumes. "I'm proud of you," she says softly. The words catch Elias off guard. For years he had sought approval from the boardroom, from strangers, from the world at large. But it's her approval that he's always needed. The weight of his past choices still lingers, but Clara's words bring him a sense of peace that he hasn't felt in a long time. In this quiet moment, Elias realizes that redemption isn't a single event, it's a process. It's waking up every day, making better choices, and being present for the people who matter most. And in that, he finds his peace. The weeks continue to pass, and Elias slowly begins to rebuild his life. He takes on smaller projects, things that allow him to contribute without the pressure of being the face of a billion-dollar empire. He works with local businesses, helping them grow, using the knowledge he gained from years of high-stakes corporate battles, but applying it in a way that feels more grounded, more authentic. The shift in his mindset is palpable. No longer concerned with being at the top, Elias focuses on being a mentor, guiding others who are just starting out. The work is fulfilling, but it's also humbling. Elias no longer needs to prove himself to anyone. He's content with the work he does, with the relationships he nurtures, and with the knowledge that he's living a life aligned with his values. It's not the life he thought he would have, but in many ways it's exactly what he needed. Months have passed, and Elias finally stands in front of the family home, looking out at the world. His life is quieter now, more deliberate. He still feels the pangs of regret, the moments where the weight of his past decisions threatens to overwhelm him. But he also feels a sense of purpose that he never had before. His relationship with Lily has deepened, and while they still have a long way to go, they are stronger than ever. Clara too has found her own peace. She's no longer waiting for him to fix everything. She's standing beside him as an equal, ready to face whatever challenges come next. Elias knows that the road ahead won't be easy, but he also knows that he's no longer alone. For the first time, he feels like he's in the right place. The world that once felt so distant, so cold, is now his to navigate, on his own terms, with the people he loves by his side. It's not the empire he once dreamed of, but it's the life he's chosen, and in that, he finds peace. Elias stands at the window of his home, the world outside bathed in the soft glow of the setting sun. It's been months since he stepped away from the empire he once built, and yet the weight of his past decisions still lingers. He thought leaving it all behind would bring him peace, but the truth is, the journey to redemption is long, and some scars never fully heal. Still, as he watches the sunset, Elias feels a quiet sense of hope. He's learned that peace doesn't come from erasing the past, but from accepting it and moving forward. The world is still turning, the city still bustling, and his legacy, once tied to power and wealth, now feels distant, like something he once knew but no longer needs. He turns to look at Clara, who enters the room and smiles softly at him. For the first time in years, they stand in silence. But it's not uncomfortable. It's a silence full of understanding of everything they've been through and everything still to come. They are no longer bound by the past, they are free to write the future together. The next morning, Elias walks through the park with Lily, hand in hand. The world feels different now, lighter, less burdensome. There's a joy in the simplicity of the moment that he never fully appreciated before. Lily talks about school, her friends, her plans for the future. Her words are full of hope, full of life. Elias listens, really listens, and for the first time in years, he feels like he's truly present. As they pass a playground, Elias stops and watches her run off to join the other children. He leans against a nearby tree, watching her laughter echo through the air. It's a sound that brings him peace. He is no longer the man he was, the one driven by success, by ambition, by the need to prove himself. He's not sure where life will take him from here, but he knows that this moment with Lily, with Clara, is everything he needs. And for the first time he's content with who he is. Later that afternoon, Elias sits at a small cafe with Clara. They sip their coffee in quiet comfort, the noise of the cafe around them fading into the background. Their conversation flows naturally now. There's no longer the weight of unspoken words, no longer the tension that once defined their relationship. They talk about the future, about what comes next for them, but there's no urgency in their words. They're not in a rush anymore. There's no need to fill the silence with plans or achievements. Elias feels a sense of liberation in this, an understanding that not every moment needs to be filled with purpose or productivity. The world outside is chaotic, uncertain, but here, in this small cafe with Clara, there's only peace. It's the kind of peace that comes from being present with someone who truly knows you, someone who has seen your worst and still chooses to stand by your side. The weight of the past is still there, but now it's something he carries lightly, like a memory that doesn't need to define him. Elias stands alone in the now empty boardroom, the chair at the head of the table still vacant. The room that once held so much power now feels cold and sterile. He remembers the days when this room was full of tension, full of ambition, full of decisions that shaped the course of his life. But now, standing in it, he feels only emptiness. He places his hand on the polished surface of the table, the same surface that once hosted countless meetings, deals, and decisions. It feels so distant now, like a different life. Elias stands there for a long moment, the silence pressing in on him. Finally, he turns and walks out of the room. He's not the man who once owned this space. The empire he built is no longer his to control. As he exits the building, he feels the weight of it all lift. He's free. He doesn't need the empire anymore. He's found something far more valuable: peace. The final shot is of Elias standing before the family home, the sun setting behind him. He looks over his shoulder at Clara and Lily, who are standing together, watching him. Their faces are full of understanding, full of love. Elias takes a deep breath, a sense of calm washing over him. He steps forward, moving toward the future, knowing that he has everything he needs right here, in this moment. The world behind him, his empire, his past, is fading into the distance. The future is uncertain, but it's no longer something to fear. It's something to embrace. He has nothing left to prove to anyone but himself. And for the first time in his life, Elias is content. As the sun dips below the horizon, he turns back toward Clara and Lily, his family, his true legacy, and steps into the next chapter of his life. The final line echoes in his mind: he left the company, but never left her.